all the packets with the UDP protocol. So I can just write UDP and enter. So all the protocol, all the packets with the UDP protocol, they are listed here. Okay. So one more thing I want to tell you that in view options, you can see there is colorized packet list. Okay, coloring rules. So there are various. Okay. So by default, they have 20 color rules. Okay, they have defined 20 default coloring rules, and you can also add your own rules or comments. Or by default, Wireshark, it colors all subframe types. Like if there are management packets, control packets, data frame packets, all those category of packets, they are basically colored with the same color. Okay, and you can also change. This is the plus button in which you can add your own rules. Okay. Now, what we can do is we can browse something on the internet and we'll see how actually the TCP connections take place. You might be aware of the TCP three-way handshake. Okay, when an application such as HTTP or FTP, it first start on a host. So basically, TCP uses the three-way handshake to establish a reliable TCP session. Okay, between the two hosts. So we'll see how. You might be knowing about send, then it gets server sends in acknowledgement, then client again send the acknowledgement. So we'll actually see those packet here. Okay, so what I'll do is I'll open a command prompt to know my IP address. Yeah, sure. Right, I write IP config in order to know the IP address. Okay, so this is the IP address 192.168.1.7, right? So what we'll do now, what I'll do, I'll click on start capturing the packet. Okay, we'll click here, continue without saving. It start capturing the packet on my interface. Then I'll go to a browser. Okay, and I'll just type google.com. Right? I've typed google.com and I've come to Wireshark again and we'll stop capturing the packets. Now what I'll do is I try to find the packets for my current session. Okay. So we'll see here. We'll try to figure out these packets where my session is being created. Okay. Um, you can figure out here. Just a minute. What I can do is I can just filter my data with TCP filter, right? In order to know only the TCP packets. Yeah, here we can see this is the IP address of my system. Okay, 192 this, and this is the IP address of the Google server. Okay, so TCP is the protocol, and here you see this is actually now my the client is sending a segment with SYN flag to the Google server, right? So this is actually the port number of TCP, right? So when I click on this and when we see here, Okay, detailed header information. You can further click on TCP protocol, and here you can see that which flag is set under flags. I'll show you. Yeah, you can see all flags are 0. The SYN flag that has been set is 1, right? Then you can see, yes. In the next packet, now the server has sent SYN acknowledgement, right? This is what happens in a three-way handshake. And then next, again, my system has sent a segment with acknowledgement flag set. So if I click on this, okay, and you see here, the acknowledgement flag has been set to 1 and rest all flags has been set to 0. Okay, so likewise, we can analyze the packets. Okay, we can analyze the details of the packets, how they are going. So this is pretty good example that how three-way handshake take place. You can analyze that. Okay, so let's go further. Suppose now we see that if we want to sniff usernames and passwords. Okay, sniffing is basically how we can capture the sensitive data. So the various protocols such as HTTP, SMTP, POP, FTP, they're actually vulnerable to the sniffing. Okay, if you are actually sending your login details in a plain text format, so they're actually vulnerable. So we'll see how. Okay, so what I do is we'll again click on start capturing packets. Oh, maybe I share a window. Yeah, this is a window. So now we'll open a web application that does not use actually secure communications. Suppose I open www.techpanda.org. Basically, a web application is for education purpose, testing and education purpose only. Okay, so it basically contains a dashboard. So I'll enter my details. It says admin at the rate google.com, right? And here I enter the password. Hmm. A successful logon should actually show me a dashboard, right? So now what we do is we again go back to my, I'll again go back to my Wireshark window. Yeah, and I do stop capturing the packet. Okay, so now live packet capturing has been stopped. So now what happens? I'll apply a filter. Yes, I'll apply a filter HTTP. So here we search for the verb post, right? So when I click on this, so what happens? We'll see detailed information. When I click in this, we'll close this TCP, right? Okay, here you can see HTML form URL encoded this. You'll click on this. So you can actually see the email address and the password which I have typed. Okay, so this is how it actually sniffles the credentials, so your login IDs and password if they are being sent on a plain text format, or if it is using it's not using a secure communication. And you can try it with login with your Gmail ID because it's a shortage of time. So you can try it if you log on with Gmail IDs, and again you will try. So all the things you can see that are encrypted, you won't be able to see your password. Okay, so this is pretty good thing. So next, one more thing that you can actually save the packets which are captured here. You can save those packets in order if you want to analyze it later with the extension pcap. Okay, packet capture pcap extension. So you can save that file. So let's get started. So this is okay. So, sir, shall I share this case study,
Maybe we are.
or we can skip? We can tell them to practice.
Yeah, they can practice upon this tool only. That's what they can do.
Okay. So I'll just
If
demonstrate.
you want, how much time your case study will take?
Maybe another 5-7 minutes. I can do
That
it.
is fine. Yeah, you can
Okay,
do.
sir. Okay. Now let's practice one of the case study. It's basically a little interesting. Okay. So in this, it says that Anarchy US Incorporation suspects that one of their employees, named Anne Turkover, is really a secret agent working for their competitor. Anyhow, she was caught and she was sent to jail. So after being released on bail, she disappears. Okay. Fortunately, investigators they were carefully monitoring her network activity before she skipped town. So the police chief said that we believe Anne may have communicated with her secret lover, Mr. X, before she left. Okay, and they have captured those packet details. So now we, as a forensic investigator, our mission is to figure out what Anne emailed, okay, what she emailed, where she went, and we need to recover various evidence. So we need to find the answers that what is the Anne email address, what is Anne's email password, if we can, what is Anne's secrets lover email address, what is the name of the attachment which she has sent, and in which country and city they are actually meeting, what is the rendezvous point. Okay, so we need to find out these answers. So what we can do, I'll go to Wireshark again. We'll open that packet, already packet captured file. Yeah, this is the captured file which has been opened. Okay, so now we wanna see for the first question was what is the an email address? Okay. So now what happens since we are dealing with the email address, so which protocol, which filter I can apply? I can apply SMTP filter, right? Yes. This filter, so all my packets have been filtered according to the SMTP protocol. So now here, if we analyze these packets, we can directly see, yeah, this at frame number 80, right? You can see here it's in information it's written from Anne Turkover and here's the email address. Okay, some sneaky g33k at the rate AOL.com. Okay, so actually this is the email address of the Anne. Okay, this is some okay. What happens if I right click on this and there's one more option, follow TCP stream, right? In this what happens that all the basically it capture it basically allows you to see all the packets in a parsable format. Okay, all the packets between a particular source and destination they resembles the data and that was transferred in that particular exchange. So you can easily see here it's a mail from this, and we can see here that it's already written undercover, so this is the mail ID. Okay, second is we want to know that what is the email address. Okay, what is the email password? Okay, so here only you can see that some auth login, right? You can see auth login here. This indicates that there is a login verification for the email. Okay, but here you can see that it's not understandable. Okay, it's something encoded form. So basically, all these credentials they are actually base 64 encoder of the plain text. So we need to decode this information. So what we can do is we can go to a browser. Okay, we can open. Show you. Okay, You're able to see my screen now?
Yeah, we are able to see your screen.
Okay. So here you can, we'll just open base 64. Yeah, this is a decoder, base 64. It's opening. First, we can copy these details. Okay. Yeah, you can copy this, and here you can just paste. It will decode to your plain text. You can see, yeah, this is the username of the ant. Okay, and this is the password of the email ID, right? So in this way, if it's not secured, so you can easily see the passwords. Okay, you can sniff and can see the passwords. Now again, we'll move to Aisha. Yes. Now we want to tell what is the email address of the ant secret lover, right? So we'll close this filter. Yes, we'll go back. So here, when you analyze the package, you again see there might be, we can apply SMTP again, SMTP filter, and you can see this is the one. This is the another email ID. Okay, sec558. Okay, when you explore this email ID, we'll click SMTP follow TCP stream. So you can see yeah, we can even read a message. Sorry, I can't do lunch next week after all, heading out of town another time. So this may be another some genuine email. Okay. We need to figure out lover's email. Okay. We'll again go down. We'll see some, another if we could find out. So yes. At this frame 132, we can see there's some another mail address. Mr. Secret X. Okay. So now again we'll do follow TV stream. Yes. Here we can see something. Yeah, content. Hi, sweetheart. Bring your fake password and a bathing suit. Address attached. Loved Anne. Okay. So from this content, we can figure out that this is the email address of the Anne secret lover, Mr. Secret X dot at the rate AOL.com. Okay. Now, most importantly, we see what attachments she has sent. You can see here content, disposition, attachment, file name, secret rendezvous point, rendezvous.docx. It's a doc file. So again, this is an encoded form. So again, if you copy this, you can actually see the entire file. It's taking long. We will copy this and we'll again go to the decoder and we can actually see the file which contains their image file. We can open it. Yeah, till here we'll copy it. Copy and I'll again go to my this decoder. You paste here. Yeah, decode. Yes, so there we can download this. This application.dox. We can download this. So our entire attachment has been decoded and now you can download and you can actually see.
Nancy, is it possible to share the decoder window also?
Okay, that's why also it's not visible. Just a minute.
Decoder, maybe decoder window is not visible. Yeah.
Is it visible, sir?
No, nothing is there now.
Now
Yeah.
it's visible. So now this it's been decoded as a doc file. I'll just show you the doc file.
Maybe Nancy, what you can do is because we just want to demonstrate them. Okay, this is a passive network packet analysis tool which is there through which all packets can be analyzed. Maybe in case in chat window you can share the links of all this. Maybe the participants are very keen to know what sort of links we are having for all these things, right?
Yes, sir. I'll share the slide also as well as the other links.
Link also link because this is one tool which is mostly used by a lot of our students to learn how to analyze the packets and maybe to tell the vulnerability into the network which can be there in any of the institute there. Maybe for the practical purposes you can make use of it while in your labs also.
Yes, sir.
Let's see, then can we start with the JScript tool?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
As I said, this GScript tool is a cryptography tool where all the algorithm has been implemented there, and you can have your data and make use of this algorithm for any analysis there. In case you would like to, let's say, DS algorithm you would like to apply on a plain text, that you can apply, and that will give you the cipher text in that case.
Yeah, I start with the
Yeah.
implementation. Yeah. Okay.
Uh,
This is actually the
these are
interface.
some This is a presentation which we got. This is what the features of a JCT include. It includes the algorithm, maybe all your ciphers, RSA, AES, hash, DSA, all algorithm are available there. And you can do a certain cryptanalysis upon that also. Maybe you can do frequency analysis, cryptanalysis. We are not gone into detail of this. Those of you who are keen to know about this algorithm, they can go for it. But yes, this is the way we do for the analytical purpose. Maybe it has got a visualization tool also, and there are certain gains which are built into this particular tool for the academic purposes only. Maybe can we go to this JC script tool?
Yes,
Nancy?
sir. Yes, sir. Yeah. It's visible?
No, it's a presentation only which is visible.
Yes, sir. I'll share the content.
You can share the tool. First, give the link there. This is the link for this particular tool.
Yeah. This is the link for installation. Okay. This is the
The screen is
official
not
link.
visible. Nancy, please share the screen.
Hope it's visible now.
Yeah, noise fine, noise fine.
This is basically the official link, www.cryptool.org. You can go to this website and you can download. Okay. I'll share all these links also as well as the PPT. Then I just share the tool with you. Yeah. Now it's visible.
Mm, yeah, noise visible.
Yeah, this is actually the interface. Okay, so basically, all the algorithms, cryptographic algorithms, they have been available here, so you can analyze, you can work with it. So here you can see the asymmetric under asymmetric, classic, hash, mag. There are different all the categories of algorithms they are available. Okay, so quickly, what I can do is we can you can see this. We can have an example of Caesar cipher, right? If I click here, Yeah, this window will open, right? So here we can choose the operation, whether we want to encrypt, decrypt, what alphabet we want to choose. We can also give our custom alphabet. That means the list of alphabets which you need to include, uppercase, lowercase, digits and all, which alphabets you want to choose. And most importantly, you just have to mention the key. Okay. Suppose if you are saying that now is it C, that means A would be converted to C. The amount of shift would be 2. So you have to mention that, and you just have to click finish. Okay, so the output of this would be seen here. Okay, this is one of my files. So we'll see that this is the text. So its output can be seen in another text file, this. Okay, so one of its most features, like we can see some like asymmetric algorithm. I can talk about RSA if you're familiar. So basically what we can do, I can show you the visual of RSA. Okay, directly we can see the visual. RSA crypto system, that would be better. Okay, it's open, yes. So basically, it's asymmetric cryptography where you need a key pair, okay, for encrypting and decrypting the message. So it's easy to use, okay. This is set key. You need to choose a key, as you know. Okay, we'll create a new key pair next. So you might be familiar with the algorithm, we need to choose two prime numbers. So as an example, I choose simple one, 11 and 13. So it automatically calculates n and phi of n. Okay. Now we need to choose some encryption exponent, like we say E. So if I choose 17, okay, the decryption in exponent has been calculated automatically. We'll write finish. So here it's calculated. So again, if I write enter text, now we have to choose a text. Okay, I can write my own input. Okay, let's say I write welcome to FTP on cyber security. Right, this we have written. Now we'll click on finish. Now you can see we'll click encrypt. So one by one it will start encrypting the data. Okay, you can see W is changed to 22. Likewise, there are total 32 steps, and all the calculations it's visible here. So visual, so you can easily visualize, and you can see here in the result field, it's in how it's getting encoded. Okay, so likewise it works. So this is our actually the encrypted form of our entered text. Okay, so I'll just copy. We'll move on to decrypt also. Again, I'll select a new key pair. You can also save your key pairs if you want. Okay, so I choose for decrypting, we need to have the same key. Okay, we'll choose finish. Now here I'll enter my ciphertext, which is encoded text. I'll not copy it. Copy this one. I'll, okay, I'll paste here. Right. We'll click on finish. And now I'll do decrypt. Start decrypting. So now you can see in the result, it will start decrypting. You can see the plain text again. So basically it's for learning purpose. How you can learn, you can see how the calculations, you can visualize it. Okay, quickly I can also tell you that how it can be actually used for signing purpose also. You can sign. Okay, so basically a sender would need to create a hash. Okay, a message digest of your text and encrypt the hash value with the RSA private key, and we can add that key to the message. The receiver at the other end, the receiver can verify that the message has been sent by the intended sender and has not been altered. Okay, this is how it works. So I'll show you. So this is sign. Okay, again I'll do some new key pair, how it works. You choose this, finish, yes. So here I'll enter the text. Next, suppose we'll enter short something welcome. Okay, I'll hit finish. So now it has calculated the hash value of my enter text, that is 63. Now we'll sign it. Okay, start signing and it shows 72. Right, this is the signed value. Now it's 72. Now at the verify, what I'll do is again we'll generate a keep here. Yeah. Now I'll enter a signature. My signature signed text was 72. Okay, we'll click and finish. And here I'll type signed text, which was the original text I have typed is welcome. Okay, then finish. Now here it has again calculated the hash value 63. Now we'll check verify whether it will decode, it will उसको दोबारा वो करेगा, it will check the hash value of my entered signature, and if it matches with this 63, then that means it is verified, otherwise not. So we can start and we can see here, yeah, result is 63. Here you can see verification result. For a successful verification, the hash of the signed text has to match the decrypted signature. So here is the same. Okay, so we can try one. What I can do is I can sign me if I think if I change a bit small, we can do just add a dot. Welcome full stop. Okay, and now we'll see hash value has changed for 77. Now we'll try to verify. It shouldn't verify now. It should say no, not valid. Yes. You can see here the signature is not valid because now we have changed our text. That means some alteration has taken place. So it says now it's not valid. Okay. So this is actually how it works. So there are a lot many algorithms available. You can see here. So you can explore, you can practice according to your requirement. Okay. You can learn from here.
Okay, Nancy, can we quickly go to our third tool, Harvester? I think people are enthused about these tools. Maybe we can share the Harvester also. Basically, that's a ethical and unethical information gathering tool which is there.
Yes, sir.
Can we go to the presentation? Nancy, presentation is not visible. Nancy, what has happened?
It's a
Yes, Nancy.
sir, it stopped responding.
Huh?
Sir, it just stopped responding.
Maybe you can, because it shows me Nancy Singlai start sharing the content. That's what it's showing, but contents are not coming. Maybe is the presentation there with you? Amandeep, can you give presentation rights to me? I can tell them about the tool. Maybe they can see it later. Amandeep?
Okay, sir, just a second. I'm assigning you the rights. Sir, done.
Okay. Is it visible?
No, sir.
No. Is it visible?
No, sir.
There is something wrong.
It is not visible.
Hmm. Is it visible now?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Halfway through, I guess.
Hmm. Okay, this is the harvester. Maybe it's an information gathering tool used for both ethical and unethical hackers to scrap up your email information, your subdomain, host, imply name, open port, and banners from people, different public sources like popular search engine, PGP keys, or server. So basically, in case I would like to have information about emails or who are the hosts there, who the imply name there, what are the ports which are open in a network, what are the banners there. So all this information I can see through this particular application only. Maybe I don't know whether we will be able to show you this harvester. Maybe it's useful because we did talk about to you about penetration testing. In case I would like to go to the network, up to what point I can penetrate. So this is so basically what we do is it just penetrate a network, and up to what point I can penetrate into a network which is there. Let's say I would like to check how many ports are open in a network. Maybe with the harvester tool I can find out what are the ports which are open there or not. And in case I would like to have the footprints of various customers on the internet, that I also can find out. Maybe maybe there is always a ethical and unethical part about that. Ethical part is in case I would like to know what a attacker can see about their organization. In case I would like to find out as an ethical hacker, I would like to find out how attacker will see my organization in case he barges into penetrate into my network. I can see that. Then I can make it my network as a foolproof. This is the ethical one. And unethical part is in case a unethical hacker is there, he just starts using this harvester as a tool and try to penetrate to any of the network. In this process, he can get to know these are ports which are open, and then he can make use of this information to hack your network, hack your any other information which is available. So these are some of the supports which are available to this tool, where Google email subdomains, Google profiles, implies names if you would like to find, Bing search, email, subdomain, host name, virtual host, or PGP server, your email, subdomains, host names, LinkedIn or X email subdomain. All this information can be visible by using this particular tool. Maybe I'll check in case
I have
we
joined, so I can
join.
share. Yeah, there is some issue.
Then
I can
Aman,
start the demo.
Amandeep, yeah, has given the demo. You can just give the demo for the harvester
Yeah,
now.
yeah,
I
sir.
told them about the harvester. Fine.
Okay, thank you, sir. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, Nancy, you have the presenter role.
Okay, ma'am.
Another 5 minutes, you like to
Yes, sir.
see the harvester. That's all.
Okay, is it visible?
Not the content. Yeah, noise visible.
Okay, this is actually the prompt. It's actually a command prompt for the pen test box. Okay, Kali. If you have a Kali Linux, the harvester tool, it is it's available there. You can directly install. But in case if you don't have Kali Linux, so there is a one. I'll share the link. That's a pen test box. So you can download that, and this is actually the command prompt for that box. Okay. So if I'll type list, okay, it basically contains many tools, so you can explore other tools as well. List.
It's not showing any information.
Yes, sir, it's a bit slow.
Is it showing on your system?
No, sir, it's a bit slow
Okay, it may be slow. Maybe
due to network.
what we can give you the links. What we can do is we can give participant the links, and they can make use of these tools. We have told them these are features which are there, and usually on the public domain there are certain manuals available for all these tools. You can make use of there. Fine.
Yes, sir.
Okay, then Nancy, thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay, sir, thank you.
Okay, so this is what we wanted to talk to you about, the tools which are there. Maybe and these are the most of there are so many other tools which are available in public domain. Maybe we send you the email regarding some of the other tools which are available there. So this is the tools which are most useful for the academic purpose. That's why we thought we'll share with you. Now this is what we wanted to discuss with you. Amandeep, maybe we can start with some of the feedback. Maybe we can start with the feedback session at 30
Right,
direct
sir.
joining us. Right?
Right, sir. Right, sir. So now, sir, we
Maybe
can have the participants who were willing to